this is continuation of lecture 10. Please watch it. So we'll discuss them using board. Okay. Well, I have explained you there are two type of fermentation reactions are possible. One is enzymatic reactions and another one is microorganism catalyzed fermentation reaction, right? So enzyme catalyzed fermentation reactions and another one is microorganism catalyzed fermentation reactions. Okay, so here in these cases, let me say initially some small amount of microorganism C is there. Let A be the reactant or substrate. Okay, so then it will form some product R plus more amount of C. So here we have small amount of microorganism. Here we have more microorganisms. Okay, so initially there are small amount of microorganisms were present. So if you consider a batch reactor, we have taken a substrate A into it, then we add small amount of microorganism into it and we initiate the reaction. So the initial once the nutrient is present, so the reaction will take place. So this microorganism will eat this, consume this substrate A and then will produce some products R. So R is our product chemicals. Okay, so we have product formation. Okay, so product is formed which is R. So how will you write the rate equation for this with respect to A? So we will have minus RA and then we have plus RR, then we have RC. So let me there be R moles of 1 mole of A. Let me make a stoichiometric balance. Let 1 mole of A with this small amount of microorganism will form R moles of capital R and C moles of capital C. So that means we have the stoichiometric coefficient corresponding to R corresponding to 2C, small c, corresponding to A. Let us take it 1. So how this rate of these equations will be related? How these rate equations are related? So let me how to relate it. We have seen the relationship minus RA by 1 equal to plus RR by R equal to plus RC by C, right? So that way these rate equations can be interconvertible. So they can, once we know, that's why we always write it in terms of substrate or with respect to enzyme. We can write the rate equation and they are interconvertible. We can relate using this stoichiometric balance. Okay. Now, how this rate equation will come into picture? So if you consider it as microorganisms, so we are going to have a rate equation minus RA is equal to K1 into CA concentration of C into concentration of product R. Okay. So concentration of A by K2 plus concentration of A. So this fashion we are going to have a rate equation. It can, see, remember these are not elementary reactions, they are non-elementary reactions. So we are going to have a complex rate equations. Okay, so we will be deriving them later. So if it is a microorganism involved reaction, so we are going to have a rate equation of this form maybe. Okay, so then if what about this, so this is what happens, this we can relate them. Whereas if it is an enzyme catalyzed reaction where enzyme is acting like a catalyst, okay, if enzyme is acting like a catalyst, what we are going to have is R plus E. Okay, so this is what going to be the overall reaction, that is A plus E giving you R plus E. So this is the overall reaction. So the reaction kinetics may be like we have A plus E will form some AE intermediate molecule, so which may further produce to form product R plus E. So this is going to be the rate equation which we are going to discuss later. Okay, so right now to compare between fermentation based on microorganisms and fermentation based on enzymes. So this is what is the difference between these two? In case of microorganism, what is the concentration profile? Even if it is a batch reactor, so the concentration of microorganism C is going to increase with respect to time. Okay, so if you have plotted graph of concentration versus time, so the concentration of this microorganism will keep increasing because they will multiply, because they have a substrate which will give the necessary nutrient to grow, multiply, right? So whereas in case of enzyme, what happens? What will be the profile for this enzyme catalytic reaction? Remember, these microorganisms, the concentration of the microorganism is increasing, which means that is a typical example for an autocatalytic reactions. Okay, so this when the fermentation is carried out using microorganism, they are a typical example of autocatalytic reactions. Whereas when we perform the fermentation reaction using enzymes, they are not they are not autocatalytic reactions. Why? Because the concentration of enzymes, will it increase with time? What will happen to the concentration of enzyme with respect to time? One of you? Will it increase? No, because the enzyme concentration is going to remain constant throughout the time, reaction time. Okay, so we are not, you see, even the cell containing this enzyme will not multiply. Even if you introduce the enzymes with the cells containing it, they will not reproduce during the reaction time. So that is the difference between microorganism and introducing enzymes into the system. Okay, so when you introduce enzymes into the system, its concentration will remain constant. That means initial concentration is E naught, so that will remain the same. That will not change with respect to time. So the enzyme, either the fashion in which it is present in the system may change. For example, some may present as the enzyme, some may present as the intermediate decaying enzyme. So at any time, concentration of E is equal to, I can say that concentration of E is equal to initial concentration E naught, okay, minus concentration of the intermediate, if any. Okay, so that way, that's the initial concentration. So what is that? E naught is equal to E plus its intermediate form. So that way, enzyme concentration will not change with respect to time. So that is the major difference between these two. Okay. Now, if we want, this is what happens when you are taking into a batch reactors. What happens if you are introducing them into a continuous reactor? So if it is a continuous in a batch reactor, contact time is the operating parameter which is of our concern. I have explained you, I am just repeating. I told you that for batch reactors, the important operating parameter of our concern is contact time, means the reaction time. Okay, so whereas in case of a continuous reactor like CSTR is there, continuous stirred tank reactor or mixed reactor, or we have plug flow reactor. Okay, so among these two, what happens if it is a single substrate system? It is easier for us to consider it to be an autocatalytic reactions, or this can be an non-autocatalytic, normal catalytic reaction condition you can consider. Okay, so what will be the temperature profile in such cases? In such cases, the overall temperature profile, if you consider microorganism is, so we have seen that the concentration of microorganism increasing, then the concentration of A decreases, that is the reactant, the product R is there. So the product formation is going to be, if initial R is not there, it's going to say like R. Okay. So that way we are going to have concentration of R increasing with respect to time. That is, reactant is getting decreased. The concentration of reactant in the reactor is decreasing. Similar that way it is happening. Okay. Whereas in case of this enzymatic reactions, what happens? So we have concentration of A decreasing. We have concentration of R increasing. Okay, so that way, so that will be the product distribution with respect to time in a reactors. Okay, so if you are carrying out fermentation using microorganism, if you perform fermentation using enzymes. Okay, now what will be the flow diagram then? Flow diagram for a reactor like that. So what will be the reactor? So you have a reactor. What will be the flow diagram? We will introduce reactant A to the system, product R will be coming out. Okay, so then we have, along with product R, we are going to have more microorganism. Okay, so if it is enzymatic reactions, we are going to have E. So So we will be continuously introducing heat to the system. That's what I was telling you. So if it is an enzymatic reaction, if it is a continuous reactor, we have to continuously supply, we have to maintain the E naught value into the system, correct, constant, right? So continuous supply of heat should be done. Okay. Whereas in case of microorganism reactor, what will happen? In case of microorganisms, if fermentation is carried out using microorganisms, we are going to use R. So there will be some return of this product stream. So which will give us the sufficient, microorganisms to the system. So there is no fresh supply of microorganisms. Okay, there is no fresh supply of microorganisms, whereas there will be a recycled reactor. So your product stream is recycled. So that is the diagram for when enzyme is used. Okay, so this is the second case, this is the first case. So second case enzyme reaction, first case is microorganism is used. Okay, so but this is the case when we consider single substrate, single microorganism system. Okay, if we are considering a multiple substrate, multiple microorganism system, then it's not going to be easier to design the reactors. Okay, because as I explained you a little while earlier, so when the reactor is small in size, the one microorganism may be predominant, so accordingly a product may be forming. The selectivity of the product or yield of the product may be more, but when you do it in a large scale, what will happen? Some other microorganism may overtake the reaction and that will perform better. Okay, so that is what happens when you are doing it, when you involve a multiple reactor systems. When you have more than one reactions, or it may be series reactions or parallel reactions, whenever there is a multiple reactions, the performance of the reactor or the optimum design of a reactor design will depend upon two things. One is proper contact time between the feeds. Okay, so the proper contact time should be one important parameter which we have to consider. Another thing is proper flow pattern of the various feeds or fluid streams that is coming into the reactor. So within a reactor, a proper contact time is important. Another important parameter is proper flow pattern of various feed streams or fluid streams that is involved in the reactor. So that will determine decide the design of a proper reactor. So if you want to have an optimum design of a reactor, we should have a proper contact time, and then we should have proper flow pattern of the fluids. Okay. And if you want to improve the yield of a desired product, what we have to do is, it depends upon whether we are going to use this multiple reaction involved is a parallel reaction or series reaction. For example, if the reaction involved is a parallel reaction, if you want to control the yield or selectivity of a particular product, either we may have to use some high concentration, we have to operate it at high concentration of the feed, or we may have to use low concentration of some of the constituents, right? So that way the reactant either it should be high or it should be low, depending upon how we want to control the parallel reaction. So similarly, how we will control this? See, remember these things have been taught in chemical reaction engineering course. So in the qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis, we have seen how to introduce various reactant A and B. First take A, then add slowly B, like that, or you can take A and B can be added slowly, right? So like the different patterns of introduction can be done. So if you want to improve the yield of a parallel reaction, so then we may have to use some high or low concentration of the feed. Okay, so similarly if it is a series reaction, for series reactions we have to maintain the homogeneity of the composition is important, right? We have to maintain the homogeneity of the composition if it is a series reaction. Okay, and various reactors can be used for these multiple reactions. You can use batch reactor, semi-batch reactor, or continuous reactors like this continuous stirred tank reactor or plug flow reactor. So the design we have to adjust by, in the continuous reactor we have to adjust the reaction rates by either you have to slowly add the one of the feed, or we may have to add fast So either it is by slow addition or faster addition. So how we are introducing these feed streams into the system can be by maintaining their velocity. You will be able to control the reactions. Okay, otherwise if it is going to be any autocatalytic reaction type, so we have to decide whether we should have a with separation and product recycling into the feed stream. So that can be done with and without. We can perform the design of these reactions, whether it is involving microorganism or enzymes. Okay, so that way if it is a multiple reactions, multiple reaction is involved in this kind of enzymatic fermentation or alcoholic fermentation. So in microorganism fermentation, we may use any of these reactors like batch reactor, semi-batch reactor, CSTR or plug flow reactor, where we will be adjusting the rate at which the feed streams are introduced. Either we may have to maintain some feed stream as fast as possible, some streams can be maintained slow as possible, or sometimes we may have to separate the product and recycle some of the stream into the system, which will determine the rate at which the reaction is carrying out. So the yield can be enhanced in such fashion. Okay, so next we will discuss about this mechanism of these enzymatic reactions, how these enzymes can be combined together to form the product. Okay, how these, we are talking about this intermediate is formed, right? So this reaction can be involving some intermediate formation. How that intermediate can be formed will be discussed now. Well, if we look at the mechanism of formation of this intermediate, because we know it is well established fact that all the enzymatic reactions follow a reaction. Enzymes react with the substrate first to form an intermediate molecule, that is ES star. So it is a reversible reaction, and further it proceeds to form the product P. Okay, so P plus E, enzyme is conserved. Okay, so because enzyme is not taking part in the reaction, it is not consumed during the reaction. The same amount of enzyme that are present initially will be present at the end also. Okay, so now if we, several mechanisms are being proposed, what is happening during this ES formation, how this ES formation takes place, because there are a number of enzymes available and there are so many substrates available, but only a certain enzymes are reacting with a certain substrate to form this catalyze the reaction, right? So that way how it is formed, several theories are there to explain this concept, and one of the first and earliest theory that was proposed was like lock and key method model was proposed, where it is said that the enzyme will have a shape of lock, the substrate will have a shape of key. So just like how a key will only fit into a certain lock, so they go and fit perfectly if it is made for each other. So that way we have this lock and key model being explained. First of all, that let me say that the enzyme is having some shape like this, because remember the active sites are important. Binding sites, they are called binding sites, are available at the enzymes, and these substrates go and get bound at the each active sites available at the enzyme. So that way enzyme should have binding sites where once the substrates comes they get activated. So that way only that energy level is changing, that we know that from reactant to product change, product formation. So the overall energy is, remember, they don't change. This enzymatic reaction do not alter the equilibrium constant, they only lower the temperature at which the reaction will take place. Also it increases the rate of the reaction. Okay, so that way if you consider a mountain and a tunnel, these enzymatic reactions or any catalytic reactions are like a tunnel in a mountain. It only reduces the activation energy required for the reaction to occur. Okay, so if you consider a lock and key model, let me say this is an enzyme with a circular shaped, rectangular shaped and triangle shaped active sites or binding sites. Let me have a substrate. So when you say that substrate has a particular substrate, will have similar shaped thing. So this is the substrate. Let it be the substrate, let it be the enzyme. So we have enzyme with openings of circular, rectangular and triangular shaped openings, and we have a substrate with circular, rectangular and triangular shaped thing. So that way what will happen when lock, just like lock and key according to this model, this enzyme is very rigid. Okay, they don't change the shape. Okay, so enzyme is very rigid. So only the perfect substrate will go and fit into this. So for example, if this is the enzyme, once this kind of substrate is coming into contact with each other, so obviously we are having this enzyme which is very rigid, will accommodate only this substrate into the system. So the substrate, this is the E, we have S. So when it is binding together, we have the formation of ES. So this is the ES formation. So where it is this lock and key, according to this lock and key model, these enzymes are rigid. Okay, enzymes are rigid, they don't change the structure easily. Okay, so and they are pre-shaped. So they are pre-shaped. So only substrate which has a shape similar to the binding sites present in the enzyme will fit into this to form ES formation. That is one way of forming this intermediate ES during this reaction. But however, this theory fails to address that there are so many enzymes, actually they are very flexible in nature. Okay, so they fail to explain the flexibility of these enzymes which is found in nature, but because they say that enzymes have very rigid structure, that kind of thing, active sites. So also they fail to explain the allosteric modulators kind of things. Okay, so that way, so this lock and key method is just first any theory, because the earlier days this theory was proposed and it was used. Okay, later come the second one, which is called induced theory. Induced theory, so induced model. What happens in this induced model? Induced fit. We are inducing a fit to the system. For example, the enzyme is not having exactly that circular, rectangular, triangular shapes. Okay, so they have something similar to it, which will, once one certain substrate is coming into contact with each other, this kind of substrate will adjust. It is in this theory, it says that these enzymes are flexible. So once they come in contact with this kind of substrate, we have this ES formation. So this ES formation is there. So because they say according to this induced fit model, this unlike lock and key model, these enzymes are not rigid, they are not pre-shaped, they are flexible. So once a certain type of substrate is coming into picture, coming in contact with it, so their active sites, because of this interaction, they change the shape to fit into them. So that is how this ES is formed. So this intermediate ES is formed because this enzyme is not rigid or not pre-shaped. Once the substrate with a certain shape is coming into contact with each other, so they form into a required structure to form the intermediate. So that is second model called as induced fit model. Whereas we have a third model called as substrate straining model. So in case of a substrate straining model, this enzyme is little bit similar to this induced fit model. Because of this, not only this is giving up some fixed shape, the substrate also undergoes some strain while forming this intermediate. So that way you have this same similar enzyme, like in the case of induced fit model. Once the substrate is coming in contact with each other and this induced fit model is working, so we have this enzyme taking a shape. Okay, so we have an enzyme taking a shape according to fit it. Okay, so also it's not that only he is giving, like it is in a double, in a friendship, two person are involved. So there is a case where perfectly nothing, no compromises. A and B matching each other, all the taste, character, everything is matching. So there is nothing to change for both of them. The two person need not change any of their character to adjust to make friendship with the other person. They make a perfect pair, right? So there is one case where two people are there. One person adjusts for the other person, whereas the other person do not adjust any of his character for the other person. So that kind of friendship is also possible, right? Only it will happen as long as this person is taking care of that person, it is okay. So the moment he stops, this person won't consider that, right? So that way, in this case, there is one person who is flexible and who is adjusting with the other. And then we have a third case called as substrate straining model, where it's not just the enzyme is adjusting itself to take a shape, it's also the substrate also will get strained to make a proper fit into this ES formation. Okay, so this intermediate formation takes place. Here the substrate and the enzyme will form. It's not that only the enzyme is changing its shape, it's not only the enzyme is not rigid, even the substrate is strained, and you can say that the stripe is there, it became bent, right? So that is to denote that there is some bend in this one. Okay, so that way, so the substrate straining model, the substrate is strained to fit into this enzyme. Already there is induced fit model in this one. So that way, a combination of this induced fit model and substrate straining model seems to fit most of the characteristics of an enzyme, because that formation of ESCs can be well explained that there is some adjustments. So this enzyme also is not so rigid and it adjusts, it's not pre-shaped, it is able to change its little shape, so accommodate that substrate. And not just the enzyme, in the substrate straining model, the substrate also changes its shape little bit to get into formation of the intermediate ES. Remember, in E plus S giving ES, we are discussing about how this ES is formed and how this is helping in reducing the overall activation energy required for the reaction to convert the substrate S into product P. Okay, so remember this catalytic reactions, we have seen that from reactant to product formation, if it is catalytic reactions, we have, so this catalytic reaction will take place, require less energy. Okay, so if it is from reactant state to product state, so this is a mountain and this is going to be a tunnel area, right? So that way, here the temperature required for the reaction to take place is less. So that is the advantage. These reactions of enzyme kinetic reactions will take place at a low temperature as low as 20 to 40 degrees Celsius. Okay, and another thing is how much the rate of the reaction is enhanced. The rate of the reaction, catalytic, particularly this enzymatic catalytic reaction, is going to be enhanced to a tune of 10 power 6 to 10 power 12. So in the range of 10 power 6 to 10 power 12 x times more than the non-catalytic reactions. Okay, so these enzyme catalytic reactions are 10 power 6 to 10 power 12 times faster than the non-catalytic reactions. So that is the beauty of this enzymatic catalyst. This biocatalyst do wonders. It reduces the time required for the reaction to take place. Okay, further, this mechanism, this type of what type of reactions are taking place in this one is, so this catalysis can be either acid-base catalysis. Okay, so this acid formation, base formation can be there to enhance the catalytic activity to get to increase the rate of the reaction. Okay, also it can be substrate straining. Already this substrate straining is there, which makes the substrate to come in an activated state. Okay, so it's already in its activated state when there is substrate straining is taking place. So this model is explained. So when there is a strain, the substrate is already in a activation state. So that way the reaction rate is enhanced. So there are other two methods called covalent catalysis. There is a covalent conformation. So the covalent catalysis also will take place. And apart from that, these entropy effects are there. Okay, what is entropy? It is defined as the measure of disorderness in the thermodynamics, right? So in thermodynamics, it is defined as it is the measure of disorderness. So that also brings increases the activation of the process. So that way, so this formation of this intermediate is facilitated and the overall rate of the reaction is enhanced by 10 power 6 to 10 power 12 times when we are using the catalysts like enzymes. Okay, microorganism or enzyme. So these catalysts, biocatalysts are enhancing the rate of the reactions. And with respect to thermodynamics, we can say that these reactions can be of three types. One is isothermal reactor, where the net change in temperature is same, that you have isothermal conditions. Okay, so that way isothermal reaction is possible, or there be the energy can be released. It can be released so that it can be exothermic reaction is possible, and it may consume the energy. So in that case it is endothermic reaction. So based on thermodynamics, so this type of enzymatic reactions can be either isothermal, exothermic or endothermic in nature. What we have learned in this lecture, we have revised what we have learned in this chemical reaction engineering course. What is CSTR reactor, what is PFR, what is autocatalytic reactor, how the rate equation or the rate versus conversion curve will be different, which reactor will require what volume we have discussed. And with respect to mechanism of these enzyme reactions, we have seen the lock and key model, where the enzyme is considered to be rigid and pre-shaped. Only a perfectly fitting substrate will come in contact with the enzyme, and which will get converted into product as illustrated in this figure. And we had then came the induced fit model, where the enzyme is considered to be more flexible and it's not pre-shaped, so there is a conformational change in the enzyme. When a suitable substrate comes in contact with it, the enzyme changes its shapes to form the products. Okay, so then we have discussed about the substrate strain model, where in addition to the induced fit model, the substrate is also strained such that the rate of the reaction is enhanced, and the temperature at which the reaction needs to occur is lowered as low as 40 degrees Celsius, and the rate of the reaction is enhanced catalytic reaction at least 10 power 6 to 10 power 12 times than the non-catalytic reactions. Okay, so we will derive the expression rate equations for these enzymatic reactions with a single substrate in the next lecture. Okay, thank you so much for joining my classroom. Catch you in the next lecture. Bye bye.